Hi everybody. Today I am going to be making chicken fajitas. And with that, I'm going to make some homemade guacamole and some pico de gallo, which mine is pretty wet. It's much more like a salsa. When we have our block party here on our street every year, I make a big bowl of it and we use chips and everybody just goes to town on it. So it's more like a salsa, but it's not. It's a pico de gallo. So anyway, I'm going to show you all three of those, and come along with me. Thanks. Okay, first up is the salsa. I got a tomato here. It's nice and ripe. It's actually a little overripe, but as I said in my last video, all you have to do is cut that off. Okay? The rest of the tomato is fine. Okay, I'm just going to cut the little stem portion out here. This is completely different than how I normally do this. Normally I would cut a slice and just cut it out. I don't know why I did it that way. Anyway, you can see my slices here I like my salsa or my pico de gallo chunky. My tomato here is probably, I'm cutting it about a ½ inch thick. Maybe not quite that much, but it's more than a ¼ inch. Anyway. Okay, very simple. Just gonna dice this. I'm making a very small batch. I mean, when I make this for the block party, I make like 8 or 12 tomatoes worth, and then half as many onions of. That's the recipe. Really is half the amount of sweet onion to the amount of tomato going in, and then like half a jalapeno, maybe less, per tomato. I also tend to take the membranes and the seeds out of the jalapeno, so it's not too spicy. If you like it spicy, then leave them in. Or I used to, when my wife could handle a little bit more heat than she can now, I used to use serrano peppers because they're a little bit spicier. They get a little bit different flavor. They're lovely. Actually, I would use a combination of serranos and jalapenos. But that was usually pretty hot when I did that. So I had to know I was going to be serving it to people who liked spicy salsa. But it's so good. This recipe is so simple. I figured it out based on somebody used to bring pico de gallo, this salsa, more or less, to an Indy 500 party that happened at our neighbors across the street. And I asked the person for the recipe, and they wouldn't tell me. So, okay, I'm an engineer. That's my background. So I just backward engineered it, reverse engineered it to figure out what it would need. All right, there's our tomato, just one big tomato there, which is going to be plenty for the three of us. And I'm going to do, I think, half an onion, because I think that will be enough. And here's the thing. You can add more onion. You can add more peppers. You can add more tomatoes. Whatever you want to do, go for it. Try it. So here's another change I made that you'll see in a minute. I don't use limes in my salsa or pico de gallo. I use lemon, and I use a lot of lemons. 2 lemons is not a lot of lemons, although for 1 tomato it probably is. And if you can see here, I'm cutting these about the same size as I did the tomato. So we'll have them in equal sized chunks as you are putting this on your taco, or I don't think we're going to be eating it with chips tonight. I'm making fajitas, like I said, so. Okay. This bowl is not going to be big enough, at least not for mixing. transfer it. It will probably fit when I'm done, but not currently. All right, I got cilantro here, fresh cilantro. I know a lot of people aren't big cilantro fans. Some people, it tastes like soap to them. In fact, my sister-in-law, I believe. But we all love it in this house. So I'm just going to give this a rinse and tear off about half of it and then chop it. Always make sure you rinse your cilantro because it grows in sandy soil. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, because my name is Sandy. It grows in sandy soil, so you want to make sure that you get all that sand off of it. And it sticks to you all the time. There you go. I'm not going to worry too much about stems. I will cut this fine enough it shouldn't be a problem. Or I'll pick them out. Either way, super easy. So this, get rid of that brown one. Just going to do a rough cut on it initially. You can see by, I'm moving, again, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch at most as I go along here, which will make sure that any of those stems are nice and small. So there's our cilantro. Okay. And then, like I said, I'm going to use half a jalapeno. Excuse me. I'm going to just throw that half into a Tupperware. And then over here, I'm just going to very gently get up underneath there. Don't have to push hard. Take out those membranes. Now, I've got these oils all over my hand now. So if I touch my eye or something, it is going to hurt. So if you are worried about that, then make sure that you wear gloves while you do this. But also remember, the oils from this jalapeno are now all over your cutting board. So if you cut anything else on the cutting board, it's going to have jalapeno all over it, which may or may not be what you want. I'm cutting these smaller. I do not want to bite into a piece of jalapeno that is the size of the onions or tomatoes I cut. That would be a big bite of jalapeno. You can cut it up smaller than this, kind of like a, if you want to, kind of like when you're chopping garlic to a fine mince. If you're worried about getting big chunks with this salsa, I'm not too worried about it, so there we go. And the reason I'm making the salsa first instead of anything else, as I've said in other videos, is this needs time to get happy. All those flavors have to blend together. All right, my lemons, get a spoon, my salt. It's not going to be enough lemon. I can tell already for this much. I'm going to go get at least one more lemon. I was trying to conserve lemons because I wanted to make something else later in the week, but it's not going to happen anyway. So I'll get more lemons for next week. We like our Pico de Gallo wet and yummy and lemony. I use a lot of lemons in this house. I never buy individual lemons. I buy a bag of lemons at a time. And we'll often go through that in a given week. All right, just a little salt. Actually, a fair amount of salt because this is tomatoes. Tomatoes are going to soak up a lot of salt before you taste them at all, or before you taste the salt at all. Breaking up these onions into their segments, so they're not quite as big, but they're fairly big, which is what I want. You can see there's a fair amount of moisture at the bottom. That is a combination of juice from the tomatoes, which will start kind of pouring out of them now because we added salt, in addition to the lemon juice down there. All right, so I have a cold right now, and I don't want to get my wife sick. I already got my son sick, so. Plenty of salt. I'm going to add one more lemon, though. I apologize if you can hear me being a snot face on this recording. Okay, mix this up. Got a clean spoon here so I don't infect anybody else. Okay, good. And it's not spicy yet. Hopefully the jalapeno flavor will come out. That's the point of making this first, so that it has a chance to get happy. All right, this is gonna go to the table. Next up is guacamole. Okay, guacamole. There's lots of ways to make guacamole. Some people like it chunky, some like it smooth. I happen to have fresh coriander or, what's it called? Cilantro. So I'm going to use that. But I do like to use onion powder and garlic powder so that the guacamole is fairly smooth. So all I'm going to do is cut this in half. Oh, that's a beautiful avocado. Okay, and then to get it out, the seed out, be careful when you do this. I just go like that, give it a little twist, pops right out. You can just use a spoon or whatever, knock it off into the compost. That's it. And now I'm just going to scoop this out. So how do you know an avocado is going to look this beautiful and be nice and soft? And the answer is you don't. But there are some ways to make good guesses with your avocados. So I'll show you. So I got a little hard spot here I am not including. Oh, and I missed that. A little bit of brown we also don't want in there. All right, so I bought these a couple days ago. They were not quite rock hard. Now, to determine it, you don't want to squeeze it, right? If you squeeze it hard, you're going to bruise it. It's going to come gooing out, etc. Just really gentle. If it presses in a little bit, then if it's not ripe now, it will be within, let's say, 2 days or so. I went grocery shopping on Sunday, I think. Today is Wednesday. And these are in good shape. Coming right out. I'll show you how to mash it up. The whole deal. I am going to need at least half a lemon that I did not take out yet. So I will have to go get that. You definitely want to get lemon into your avocado as quickly as possible because the avocado will start to oxidize and turn brown right away. All right, I'm just gonna go with half a lemon to begin with here. I don't want this too wet and soft. Oh, I got soap in my squeezer. Oh, I think I forgot to tell you guys. I washed my cutting board and my knife and my hands so that I would not get jalapeno in my eye or in this. Okay, take a little bit of salt. Not too much, we can always add. We cannot take out. Onion powder I'm not nearly as worried about, but we don't want it to be super overpowering. This is garlic powder, again. Healthy, but we don't want it to be overpowering. And then, like I said, I'm going to take a little bit of this. You know what? I'll take the rest of it. It's good. The cilantro, rinse it off so we don't have sand. And listen, if you don't like cilantro, make it without cilantro. It'll be fine. You'll enjoy it. At least I hope you will. Won't taste the same, but that's okay. That's how I learned how to do this stuff, was trial and error, or gosh, I had something that was really yummy somewhere and I want to be able to make it myself. So, you know, like a prime rib, you know, with sour cream and horseradish sauce. Had never made that before. Decided to make it for a big family event one year. Why? Because I like to be challenged. I like to feed people good food because it is it's how I express my love for people. So, there you go. And then I'm just taking a fork to mush this up. All of it together. All right, so we got avocado. We've got onion powder, garlic powder, salt, lemon juice, and coriander. Wow, am I having trouble remembering what that is called today? In this case, like I said, I want it pretty smooth. So when I see big chunks, I'm going to break them up here. Sorry about the snorting there. Okay. Might as well use this to taste. Plenty of lemon without being over. Plenty of garlic and onion. Just needs some salt. That's good. All right. Apparently I'm going to go through all my spoons tonight because I'm sick. All right, there's our guacamole. I'm going to take that to the table and put away this lemon, and we'll start on the chicken. Okay, the first thing we're going to do for the chicken is cut up an onion for the fajitas and the skin off here, and then we can cut this. Now, in this case, it's fajitas, right? So we want to be able to use tongs and stuff to pick up the onions and the peppers. So we're going to keep these nice and big and chunky so that they're easy to handle. Okay, so all I'm going to do is cut down the middle, get my cilantro off here. Hey, I got the name right. I'm just going to cut down the middle, but not all the way through the root ball. And I'm going to cut these about just a little bit larger, maybe than 1/4 of an inch. That's all. Okay. So now we'll have big chunks of onion. I saw some paper in there. Yeah. Same thing with this one. Make sure your knife is sharp. That's the cut that I always worry about, and I go slowly on, because if any cut is going to slip, it's going to be that one. And that would be bad. If your knife is sharp, it will not slip. Sharp knives don't slip. Dull knives slip. Keep your knives sharp. If you don't know if your knives are sharp or not, take them somewhere and have them professionally sharpened. I've showed you guys before. I have this little contraption. I saw it's called Any Sharp, and it'll attach to a surface and clamp down, and then you can sharpen a knife. And I do so about once a week on each knife. All right, I got red pepper here. Wow, that feels weird. It's moving around inside. That better be the seeds and not a critter. I don't see any holes, so I've never seen anything. Ah, there we go. That's kind of what's falling out. All right, so all I'm doing, so if you can see, there's a little tiny red pepper inside it. That apparently that's what's rolling around. So all I'm going to do here is I'm cutting down the sides. Takes all the membrane out of the equation. I don't have to worry about de-seeding it. I don't have to worry about the membranes. I've seen that done on cooking shows, and this is all you're left with. That can go right into the recycling. I'm going to get rid of these. This one's probably okay. I'll cut it in half. Okay, and these I'm just going to cut into long pieces of red pepper. The onions and the peppers are going to go in together. I'll take them out when they're ready, and then I'll do the chicken, and then I'll put it all together so we don't overcook our peppers and onions or our chicken. Or, some people don't like it all mixed up together. You could serve them separately. You could saute them separately. You can keep everything separate if that's what you want. If you've got somebody at the table who's a picky eater. I do have picky eaters. Nobody in my family is going to eat the red peppers except me. But it's really kind of an essential part of the flavor, having some pepper in there. Not pepper as in spicy, but fresh pepper. Okay, next is the chicken. I'm going to take it out of its package and wash it, and then come over here with it. Okay, didn't realize that there were going to be 2 breasts in there. I'm not sure I need 2 breasts, but now I'm not sure. But anyway, if I cut across these, that's going to be way too big. I don't want to have to bite through the chicken too much. So, you know what? I'm going to save this one. I'm going to put this one in the fridge for another day, because this is a lot of chicken, this breast. This came from a package from Costco, and if you've ever been to Costco, you know they don't do anything small. So all I'm doing here is I'm cutting these into bite-sized chunks for cooking them, so that they're easy to put in a taco, well, in a fajita. Thing is, with me not feeling well today, and my wife, even though it's been 2 months, she's still got some long-term COVID stuff hanging around. So she's pretty wiped out. So we're just not eating that much. Let me actually do this all, and I'll do it separately. Okay, there's our chicken. Sorry about the snortling again. this is going to go into a Ziploc and into the fridge, and I'm ready to cook. So I'll meet you over at the stove, and I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, I'm going to turn my pan on here on high. Let that warm up a little. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to throw in the onions right away. I'm going to throw in the peppers too. Hit this with some salt. And chili powder. Chili powder. A healthy dose of chili powder. We want to season everything we're cooking individually. And we can keep this on high. I'm going to go ahead and set the table while this is cooking. Okay, I'm going to try and show you this. I don't know if you can see the little bit of black and blistering on that piece. That's what we're going for. We don't want it dark by any means, but that little bit of char adds great flavor. That's what we want. I'll come back when this is a little further. Okay, I'm just going to give this a quick taste to know if it is seasoned enough. Needs more salt. I'm going to add a little bit more chili powder too. The nice thing is the vegetables are still al dente, which means to the tooth, right? They're a little crispy. So that'll add nice texture to our fajitas when we're building them. All right, I'm going to take that off. Peppers and onions. Add in olive oil again. Now this is nice and hot this time, so this is going to go quickly. Salt. Pepper. Nope, not pepper. Chili powder. I'm going to save that lemon to hit it at the end. Right before it comes out. Just trying to get these all onto the surface of the pan. I probably made too much onions and peppers based on the proportions here. Oh well. Should have just used that half onion that I had left from the salsa. Hot. We're going to have to check the chicken to make sure that it's cooked. We could do it with a thermometer, but these are really small pieces. It would be very hard to tell that way. So we're just going to literally inspect them. Cut one in half and see how it looks. These are still pretty big bites. I could have cut those in half again, I think. But it'll be okay, because they'll be nice and moist. I'm going to turn this down to medium so we don't overcook the outside while the inside is catching up. The other thing we can do if we want, I think this is the right one. Yeah, is we can close it for a minute that'll trap the steam, and essentially it's going to act like an oven. All right, so it'll get cooked from the top as well as from the bottom. Just a nice little trick you can use. We'll let that go for about a minute, and I'll cut one open. We'll see if it's cooked or pink. Yeah, that's only about 30 seconds, so I'm going to look anyway. Because I'm impatient. Take a big one here. Still a little pink inside. We don't want to kill everybody tonight, so we'll let that go for a couple more minutes, and then we'll take another look. And we have to taste the seasoning on it too. Hello, Tispy. Whenever I'm cooking, he wanders through here because he's hoping to get a snack. Oops, you can see that. Okay, that's the one I cut open. It's done, but that's not good enough of a check, so. But that one is done. So, all of this back in. I didn't taste it though. A little piece of meat here that I can taste. Hot! Over here, where you can see it. Ah, that's good actually. Alright, here's our lemon. That's it. Come on. I wanted these tongs. All right. There it is. Chicken fajitas with guacamole and salsa or pico de gallo. I hope you enjoy it. Dinner!
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Subscribe to Sandi Cooks on YouTube so you don't miss any new recipes.